This is your morning radio station here at Houston. And today I tell you some reports for the upcoming Houston Texan season with two first overall picks in the top three draft. New head coach, defensive minded one too. Be looking for a potential 4-win season, maybe 5 if we get lucky, but I have no expectation moving forward. And now we're fast forwarding to after the season. We're going to the Super Bowl next year. We're going to beat Mahomes, beat Lamar Jackson. The Houston Texans are back. We never left. I don't know why my voice is changing to indicate much exaggeration when I'm talking. But ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about the Houston Texans. Here I'm Cortes, and I'm a critic, and welcome back. We are concluding the AFC South with the Houston Texans. Let me look at my notes here. I had the Houston Texans 6 wins. 6 wins. I thought Anderson was going to be Defensive Rookie of the Year. I thought CJ Stroud was going to be all right. I thought the Jaguars would be better than they were. The Colts, no. Derrick Henry was going to carry. I feel like the Texans would have been lucky if they won 2 division games. Some of the wins they had, some of the losses they had were more embarrassing. I mean, you gave the Panthers their only win. Or their first win, I should say. That means number 1 overall pick, Bryce Young, beat the number 2 overall pick, CJ Stroud. And for some reason, why did the loser get the better deal than the winner? But you guys won 10 games, 10-7, and I don't care. I can ask literally in alphabetical order based on the seating charts of the stadium. Ask every Texan fan before the season with my made-up time machine, and ask them, do you believe the Texans are going to go to the playoffs? And just leave it at that. And then I will say, do you believe they're going to win the division? And leave it at that. And then just to give them some sense of hope, do you think they're going to win 10 games? And those that say yes are the same people believe in leprechauns and unicorns. Or they're on something that they need to share with me. So, what's great about sports is moments like this. Seeing the Texans be really aggressive using number 2 and number 3 to get literally captains on both sides of the ball for the next 10 plus years. They both surpassed expectations, or at least one showed what we thought, while one just went a little above and beyond. Have a new head coach in Ryan, who is a defensive-minded coach, so man after my own heart, and then showcasing during the same time that we remember J.J. Watt, a great defensive, who also, Andre Johnson, becomes the first Houston Texan in the Hall of Fame. And JJ will probably be the second Texan in the Hall of Fame, but will be the first defensive player in the Hall of Fame. Hell, Andre Johnson and JJ Watt could literally have both their numbers firstly retired, like many Hall of Famers in their history. Will it happen? I don't know, but I know the Buccaneers have 99, 40, 55, 20, and 47. Not retire, but definitely a position of you respect them too much to request that number. That's going to be the Texans. There'll be probably no more number 99s and probably no more 80s moving on, unless they do what the Cowboys did, which honestly, I kind of like what the Cowboys do by, if you're the best player, if you're the best defensive player, you should be rewarded the number 99 jersey, or you should be rewarded the number 80 if you're the best receiver. I like that a little bit more because it has a sense of respect, so because I feel like we're not just going to alienate everybody away. But that's neither here nor there. But the Houston Texans, with all they did, you would think you're playing a game of Madden for that type of level of success in his first year. And the worst part about it is that there's something called the sophomore slump that everyone just goes, sophomore slump. the sophomore slump. Okay. We don't want to admit it. We want to ignore it. There's always that feeling that, and that happens to any player, even veterans. You know, they score this many points. Like, so you broke or you made history. Can you go beyond what you did? Are you All Might? Oh boy. Okay, I'll be real. I've been avoiding this, but we all know what it is. The Houston Texans best game versus Tampa. Week 9, where CJ Stroud officially made his candidacy for offensive and the rookie of the year. I didn't want to admit that. As a Buccaneer fan, that game hurt. One, the Texans lost their kicker, so they had to go for 2. And then they had a kicker who was like the third string running back who kicked a field goal because it was a short enough field goal that his athleticism could have got it over the hump, which was fine. Actually, it was a pretty good kick for not really being known as a kicker, but he had the ability to do it. And then Baker Mayfield drove down the field, scored a touchdown. I was excited. I was like, yes, we're not going to lose. To see, oh, man, we played really bad, but man, we good win. And then you see CJ Stroud drive and then score a touchdown with like 3-4 seconds left in the game. And I'm just like, and you're just hoping, is there a flag? Is there a penalty? Did someone blow the whistle? Like, no. And for the whole week, and probably for the rest of his season, probably for the rest of his career, that game will be cemented in his legacy to remind that, oh yeah, the game where he came back and beat the Bucks when all circumstances were against him. He had these incredibly number of stats because my Buccaneers even couldn't stop a freaking cold. So yeah, this one's a little personal, but I have to be fair because I don't think there's any other game to me that showcased. I mean, yeah, they gave up 30 plus points. The defense is not really happy there either. But let's be real, the Texans' best game was that game against the Buccaneers. Not so much their opponent, but just what CJ Stroud did in his rookie season statistically. I'm pulling the stats right here just to remind us all, in case you're a Houston Texans, you probably know exactly, and saw what CJ Stroud did. 30 of 42, 470 yards, 5 touchdowns, 0 picks. And before you say, well, it's because, you know, the Russian attack, you know, took it. Singletary had 13 carries for 26 yards. He was the leading rusher for them. Now, granted, there were some plays that the Buccaneer defenses, you know, couldn't make a tackle to save their life. You know, like the Noah Brown 75-yarder. I'll admit that was clearly like, wow, no one in my defense can stop anybody. But hey, it's not his fault. But yeah, that is to me their best game by far. And now I'm feeling very cynical. And I'm feeling very upset. And just like a fanboy who sees their team loses, they want the team that beat them to be embarrassed the next week in the playoffs, like any good fan. So we're going to talk about your worst game. And I already mentioned it earlier. Your worst game happened the game before the Tampa game. You lost to Carolina. Week 8 at Carolina. You lost. Now, what's funny is that they weren't playing off the whole, ooh, it's 1 versus 2. It is the whole Mariota Winston thing. Oh, it's the RG3 and Luck. Oh, it's the 1 versus 2. It's the matchup for the rookie. It was the Panthers were winless, and the Texans were at 500 at best. The Texans have not showcased their true power. That happened a week later, and then expectations started to follow. But at the time, it was still like 2 rookie quarterbacks trying to find themselves in their respective teams. No one was thinking of buyer's remorse. No one was thinking about the owner being a complete child with his temper tantrums. No one was thinking that. Not yet, anyway. But now, in week 8, versus the Carolina Panthers, at Carolina, because if it was in Houston, it would have been more embarrassing. But CJ Stroud, the soon-to-be great CJ Stroud, was pathetically human. 140 yards passing, while Bryce Young had over 200 plus. And against a Texan defense, we felt confident. Nothing. But then again, this was a game of just mediocre preseason level. I mean, they scored 15-13. That doesn't really scream NFL game. That screams preseason game. But yeah, you gave the Panthers their first win. Now, it would be a little bit worse, but don't worry, Atlanta beat you to it, and don't worry, we'll get to Atlanta when the time comes. But you lost. And for pretty much the rest of Bryce Young's career, as long as you two stay in the league, he will always remember that, hey, remember the time that I beat you my rookie season? Yeah, you have to own that. Even though CJ could probably beat Bryce Young for the rest of their matches, for the rest of their careers. Bryce would be like, remember that time I beat you in your rookie season? I remembered. We were terrible that year, but we beat you. Yeah, we beat you. I feel a little bit better now. I'm making fun of you. But anyway, let's talk about your MVP. CJ Stroud, your MVP. What? CJ Stroud MVP? Of course it is. He was not just MVP. He was MVP of rookies. He was. Some were even thinking that could he be a potential MVP NFL candidate? That's a little bit a little bit too forward of you, sir. But I guess we need to fill in a 45-minute slot for our talk show. So yeah, let's talk about that. 23 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. 5 interceptions for a rookie. Usually it should be 5 touchdowns, 20 interceptions. That should be reversed. Just over 4,000 yards. 63%, almost 64% completion rate. CJ Stroud. He surprised my expectations of what he was. I thought his performance in the playoffs, especially against Georgia, showcased to me, okay, if this the CJ we're going to see on certain situations, or this could be a potentially new CJ Stroud moving forward. That I was surprised that the Panthers did not get CJ Stroud just because CJ Stroud showcased something different that Bryce Young has always showed his entire Alabama career. I mean, there were talks about that. Hell, at the time of this recording, there were still talks about who's going to be the number 2 over quarterback. I think Caleb Williams eventually cemented himself as number 1. But right now, we're at the point of talking about Daniels. That now that J.J. McCarthy from Michigan is slowly sneaking his way into the conversation of being a top 3 quarterback. That, hey everybody, I'm Cortes The Critic. I do apologize. When I was making this video, I totally forgot to give the Houston Texans a grade, and I feel like it was very disrespectful just to throw in a signal and a sign on the screen. So don't worry, I'm just going on a quick rant about quarterback and upcoming draft that's happening very, very soon. But to get to my grade, the Houston Texans get an A+. The Houston Texans grade was definitely surpassed all expectations. Not only did they hit on the rookies with Anderson and Stroud, but I think the hiring of Ryan, a former player, which led to also Jerod Mayo for the New England Patriots being the head coach, a former player from the organization that drafted him, and eventually get an opportunity and work their way up the rank to the head coaching position. I feel like it's very honorable, but also I feel like it gives more opportunities for defensive-minded players that became coaches to eventually get into the rank of head coach. And his first year was so much beyond expectations that I think even he didn't expect Mr. Ryan to think he would be that successful. But he was great in San Francisco, and he got an opportunity not only to get literally 2 captains on the offense and defensive side, rookies in the same time, but now there's expectations, now there's excitement, and the Houston Texans are all for it, and I'm looking forward to it. So like I said, I do apologize. I really am sorry. I forgot to put a recording of the grade, but this is going to be my fix it up here. So Houston Texans, A+, they well deserved it. Thank you, and we will go back to the conclusion of my rant about quarterback in the upcoming draft. Thank you. But CJ Stroud's MVP. No doubt. Hands down, no doubt, all about Stroud. So, that's it for the Houston Texans. Sorry for the technical difficulties in there with a typo. But now the AFC South is done, and now we're going to the NFC South. And since we were talking about Young, I think it makes the most appropriate sense to start off with that. So to start the NFC South discussions recap, we'll be talking about the Carolina Panthers in their first overall pick that they gave away to Chicago because they thought they were smarter, but they realized they weren't smarter than the average Chicago Bear. So until next time, I'm Cortez, and I'm a critic. Thank you very much for watching.